On the Line, Chapter 5. An abrupt ending to what is and what should be.
Oh, fuck! Damn it!
Run! Run to the guards at the entrance!
The creature lunges down at Khan as he tries to jump back. One of the many mouths grab his leg and begins to devour it. Dez rushes over, and with the full strength of his exoskeleton, kicks at the maw. It relents, revealing it has already chewed everything off below Khan's right knee.
Hold on to me!
Gekomatsu throws a few keyboards and one of the many monitors from the room at the creature. The monster wails and moans. Hopping alongside his friend, Khan rushes up and out of the room, the creature right behind them. They pass through the nearest door and Ilkat rushes from behind it to kick it closed, drop kicking it with both legs. It gets about halfway closed before the creature rushes beyond it and breaks the door off its hinges, launching Ilkat a fair distance. She screams out as she tumbles.
Move! Don't stare! Get to the people with the guns!
Sonam Bloom and Cosmo are far ahead of the rest of the group, rushing out the front doors. Khan looks back, briefly losing consciousness.
Yeah, buddy. Just hold it together. We're gonna get beyond here shortly.
One of the lengths of the eel-like creature lunged towards Dez, and again, from the sidelines, rushes Ilkat, now with a broken portion of a clay vase in her hand. Positioned like a shiv, she shanks the creature a couple of times, and one of the mouths moves to catch her. Her hand becomes stuck as more of the mouths curl towards her. A single shot fires out a semi-automatic surface rifle. The two gate guards stand a distance across the hall, staring down at the creature.
Get over here!
Gekomatsu sprints to the guards. Another shot rings out. Ilkat pulls her hands back, forcing some of it out of the creature's grasp. Half of her right hand and a couple of her fingers completely tear away. She looks down at it. Her thoughts consolidate, and she forces herself to run forwards with her hand tucked against her chest. More shots fire out. Sonam Bloom and Cosmo, just behind the armed guards, greet their friends and help them out. Cosmo helps Dez with Khan, while Gekomatsu and Sonam Bloom support Ilkat. Shots continue to ring out as they push towards the gate of the estate.
I'm so sorry,
The sky above them all is a shifting horror. Far in space, at the edge of vision, are rippling purple waves, connecting like synapses and circuits, across the depth of the now opaque sky. There are no stars, no sun, no moon. There are ruptures of color in the black, which swirl and burn, then reform, reconnecting. Closer to the sky, where the clouds used to be, are tears and mismatching portions of what is. Attempts at new colors churn in a vacuum of impossible space.
What is going on? Is this real?
Gekomatsu pulls out his phone with his free hand. Instead of a screen, there is simply Fenrir staring back at him. Yet he is not pleased. He, himself, is horrified. So drenched in despair, even upon the fantasy figure and barely human expression, it cannot be mistaken. He says nothing. The screen doesn't respond to any input.
I don't know what is happening.
The guard's legs are pulled out from under him. The now distinct sound of bone crunching between the shifting maws is abrupt. The other guard, Bernard, fires shots right into the creature until it seems to slump over, release what remains of its prey, and die. A small chime plays.
Level up.
A banner appears above Bernard's head as he plainly grows to level 2. His sparse wounds heal, his gaze becomes the slightest bit more focused.
That's weird.
We need healing!
We need a lot.
Sonam Bloom remarks as she looks down at the other guard, his leg devoured beyond the knee similarly to Khan. Bernard nods. He looks over to his booth.
Come with me, I have a first aid kit.
Gekomatsu breaks from Ilkat to help the injured guard as everyone moves towards the gate station. A keycard is scanned, and briefly, it flickers to become an eclectic key and Victorian lock before returning to its proper form. They step into a simple security room, glass most of the way viewing the outside of the property. A safe for weapons and ammunition, beside it a clearly marked first aid kit. The rest of the space is shelving, sitting room, or a spread out series of monitors which showcase views from cameras across the property.
Where are you all?
His voice questions through the screens. His figure, a shifting shadow upon a completely black screen, is known to be there even if it can't be seen.
Are you adjacent? How have you traveled to where I am?
Can we turn this off?
It doesn't actually have sound.
Bernard confirms this as he pulls down the first aid kit and breaks out 2 tourniquet sets. He hands one to Gekomatsu.
Do you know how to use this?
Unfortunately so.
Khan becomes alarmed and sounds like a child at a dentist.
Why? Why, unfortunately?
Without hesitating, both the guard and Gekomatsu break out the tourniquets, pulling out gauze alongside nylon bands with a metal rod central upon them. Veneer continues to speak through each of the screens.
Oh, I see it now. I understand what is happening. What is changing? This is a state of transition, a draft. I will wait.
The screens become darker than they already were.
Finally. I'm not certain that is a good thing.
Well, I can confirm this won't be.
Gekomatsu remarks as he finishes wrapping the torn leg. He places his hand on Khan's shoulder.
Please take a deep breath.
Without hesitating, he pulls out the metal rod, tethered by a banded cable, and begins to twist it. With each twist, the wound becomes pinched, the leg tighter.
What are you doing? Wait, no! Stop! Stop! Stop!
I'm sorry, my friend, but I'm only halfway through.
Both Khan and the guard scream as their unforeseen amputations are mended. For a brief moment, Khan flickers between who he is in the real world and what he looks like in endless empires. Above his head, visible only when you squint, is what looks like a barely full health bar. A massive explosion sounds. Far in the distance, a portion of the downtown begins to collapse and freezes at a point in between. The explosion grows from a fiery cacophony into dull purples and blues, expanding out to the sky, and beyond to the end of vision.
Alright, things haven't made sense for a while now. I don't know if this is some crazy new plot the game is trying, but it's hacky. Is this like some isekai in the real world? Just an attempt to make me respec all my gear again?
I, for one, regret that time I did acid at a concert. Is this what you'd call a flashback?
Flashbacks are brief. Typically, they don't occlude your ability to confirm reality. They're just colors, uncanny movement in the distance, or on a texture.
Sonam Bloom deflates a bit.
Well, that is not good. I don't want this to be real. Oh, fuck! No! This can't be real! I have to get home! I have to! I can't be here!
We'll be okay. We can just...
No, you don't understand. It's not just me. I stepped out quick to visit you all. It's so quick nowadays. Fuck! I have kids at home. Mind, I just thought I'd be home in time.
Oh no.
Do none of the phones work?
There is a rumbling outside. The ground shakes.
No, they don't.
Ilkat taps her thumb against her phone.
But, hey, look at me, Sonnenbloom. Hey, we'll make this right. We'll get your kids. I promise you.
The rumbling grows.
We will make sure.
Gekomatsu inspects the wound, nods to himself a few times, then stands back.
It should do, for the time being.
He looks over to Ilkat, still clutching her torn hand.
Your turn. Sit.
Ilkat looks down in surprise at her.
Right. I almost forgot.
You've bled all over yourself.
He makes the statement as he prepares more gauze.
Yeah.
Ilkat's response suggests she doesn't really believe him, despite the evidence being permanently stained down from her neckline to the bottom of her leg. With an inquisitive glance, Sonnenbloom makes sense of the details in the space. She raises her finger and points out to the weapons safe.
I think we might all want to be armed.
You're probably right.
Bernard concludes the bandaging of his colleague and approaches the safe. Stretching out from a cable on his belt, he slots in a cylindrical key and twists it forcefully before it retracts. The safe takes a moment to process and then opens up, revealing inside only a single-barrel shotgun and 2 handguns. Upon the floor of the safe rests a box of shells, a few loose rifle rounds, and 3 prepared pistol magazines.
Not exactly an arsenal.
Well, we're not an army, it's a gate.
We should do more than just bandage these wounds, shouldn't we?
Gekomatsu nods as he inspects Ilkat's hand and breaks out a suturing kit. There is another deep vibration in the ground. Shots go off in the distance. Someone, then something, screams.
In regards to triage, it is more important to confirm what we have to deal with are wounds and not causes of death.
He threads a needle carefully with an almost completely clear thread and, without hesitating, sneakily injects Ilkat's hand with a small needle.
Hey, what did you just do?
She jumps out of the chair in shock. Gekomatsu doesn't move.
A bit of numbing, standard in the kit. Sit down.
Ilkat takes a moment. She's practically in the tips of her toes, her body attempting to jump into a corner of the ceiling without her.
Right. Okay.
Her hand continues to drip onto the floor.
Sorry. I'll sit down.
She looks at the weapons safe.
Then I'm taking that shotgun.
With a strap, you might be okay.
Gekomatsu takes her hand and places it flat against the chair's armrest. He quickly cleans the wound, then places his first suture.
Do you feel anything?
A lot of things. Barely feel the hand.
Good.
You know, I still don't know what you do for a living.
This I am curious for myself.
I work in a lab.
Seems like you're a doctor.
I am, yet when you say you're a doctor, people expect patients, a practice, working in a hospital. This is not what I do. I am a researcher. I haven't done this in many years.
Oh, great. That's what I want to hear right now.
Gekomatsu fixes her hand from drifting and continues astutely.
I am very good at it.
Khan, now drifting a bit in and out of a sleepy state, looks out the window.
I see people.
There are shots outside from various weapons. Some sound impossibly futuristic, others like something from a cartoon. all decidedly harsh. Bernard peers closer to the window, looks down the closest street, then ducks down.
Everyone, get below the windows.
They all do, and in the process, Bernard begins to hand out weapons. He gives a handgun to Dez, another to Sonnenblume, then slides the shotgun with a few primed shells near to where Ilkat has crawled to under the camera console, Gekomatsu finishing his work. There is marching outside.
What did you see?
I don't know how to describe what I saw.
Devils. It must be.
Don't be so loud.
Devils. It must be.
Bernard charges forwards, pressing both his hands over his mouth. With all his weight, he keeps them against the floor. Everyone just stares. There's a shuffle from outside the windows. Everyone waits. A series of steps grow closer. Someone fires off a few shots of a green energy through the window. The glass smashes inwards. The wall burns.
Toss a nade and be done with it.
The voice comes from outside the security office. Dez looks over to Khan, who looks over to Bernard. Gekomatsu finishes the last of his sutures, and the moment he does, Ilkat breaks from his assistance and reaches for the shotgun.
When he throws it, I will catch it and throw it back. Then we shoot.
Everyone nods. A green pulsing orb is tossed through the window. It blips ominously with a soft light. Khan tightens his gaze for a moment, and before he makes sense of what he is saying, Bernard reaches out for it, grasps it in his hand, stands to throw it, and lobs his arm without any result. At the pitch of his throw, the green orb remains in his hand. From outside the window, a group of soldiers gather, dressed completely distinct from one another, other than being in all black. One of them wears spiked raiding gear from Endless Empires, another a helmet with wolf ears, the rest some modern urban combat gear.
Ha ha ha! Got him with the sticky.
Fuck!
He grabs Sonnenblume and rushes out of the security room. Gekomatsu breaks into a sprint. Cosmo grabs Khan alongside Ilkat, and they just manage to dive through the door as Bernard and the rest of the security office explode into green fire. Shots fire through the billowing smoke of the burning building. Ilkat turns her back without standing up, levels the shotgun, and fires back blindly through the smoke. She hears something plunk loudly, and then a scream.
Level up.
Ilkat glows a bit, miraculous light flushes over her, and her fingers regrow.
Huh?
The text Level 2 briefly appears above her head.
Sorry to waste your time, Gecko.
No concern at all.
Dez fires 3 shots as the smoke clears, winging one of the approaching soldiers. As more of the smoke clears on the street behind them, soldiers march out of a wash of complete blackness, a vertically oriented oval the height of a tower. Alongside them, impossible creatures, all cast entirely in darkness. Dragons, gargoyles, 16-legged cat octopuses, attack helicopters, shoulder-high walls.
We cannot stay here!
She fires off another shot, finishing the soldier Dez had struck.
Back to the house? With all those screens?
Cosmo's already in the process of moving back.
I'd rather walls than an open field.
Just behind them, Cosmo's home is torn out of place. Not by a hand, or in any logical manner. Instead, it is as if it is torn out of place like a stubborn sticker placed on top of another, ripping both and the package underneath, far beyond repair. The ground ruptures, everything is pushed backwards. What remains is unending, ceaseless nothing. An emptiness so absolute it feels wrong to witness, as if you're looking somewhere you should not. The air begins to feel warm in the throat. A few shots fire out. 1 hits Khan just above his bandaged leg. He screams out.
Ah!
Oh, come on!
Ilkat sprints towards the assailant from the side, charges into him, and as he falls, blows a portion of his neck open with a blast from her shotgun. She leans down to inspect him, and a modal frame appears in front of her. A few items are cleanly displayed, alongside an option for Loot All. She touches Loot All, and the armor, weapons, and equipment worn by the soldier simply appear upon her.
Haha, this is nifty.
She aims the rifle.
Right. I can see how much ammunition I have if I just focus a bit.
Another explosion rips through the sky. The depth of color in space grows closer and pulses erratically. It picks up speed. The air grows warmer again, like tea a few moments from the kettle.
I'm not exactly enjoying our chances here.
The army of soldiers in black are closer, their numbers beyond measure. They scream, taunt, and jest in horrible ways. The sky tears open, the horrible nothingness in the gaps.
It was really nice knowing you all.
His hand reaches to his new gunshot wound.
Figured we might get a bit further, you know?
Dez waves his gun around, staring at it oddly for just a moment.
Should we try and take a few of them out before we go?
Wait.
You all heard that, right?
Yes.
3.
What is happening?
The army marches closer. The eel monsters with moving maws fill in from the nothingness, crawling out like freshly hatched leeches.
2.
No, stop. We can just, wait. I can keep fighting. I won't lose. I won't lose. Just don't.
Everything in the sky falls and begins to swirl. The air becomes painful beyond measure, like swallowing lit napalm which sticks and burns everything it touches.
1.
Something in the center of all that is changing. Everyone screams. Reality screeches. It is midday as Ilkat awakens in a snow-laden field. She instantly jumps to her feet in a panic. She is wearing some sort of cotton field worker's garb. Simple, if not a bit rough. She is without weapons. Ahead of her, the sky is calm, and the town of Verplex stands undisturbed. Aside of it, the corpses of square knights and their fans. The platform they erected, their merch and setup, all torn, soiled, or devoured. Now accenting the path up to Verplex is a modern Japanese convenience store, ripped out of place and plunked here. Ilkat sinks for a moment, balls up her fists, and... Ilkat stands upright. She pinches her arm. Just around her, laid out flat, are the rest of the crew. They appear as their avatars in endless empires. Khan has no wounds, his leg restored. Gekkomatsu is a sort of frog-human hybrid. It is peaceful everywhere. For a moment, there is a buzzing, a vibration in all things, like a guitar string snapped and left to settle. As you watch it still, you forget what it looked like when it was any other way at all. Dez rises and furrows his brow.
Did we die?
Maybe.
Ilkat! You look like Ilkat!
Don't I always?
No, like Ilkat from the game. You're her.
Oh. Well, same goes for you. It looks to be the nature of whatever is going on.
She kneels a bit and looks around.
Wait a second.
He looks around apprehensively, then jumps to his feet.
Yeah, I know. That town, Verplak.
No,
He jumps around, an impossible joy growing within him.
I don't feel any pain.
He bounces between each foot, no concern in the matter.
I feel just fine.
Well, at least, if this is the afterlife, we got to pick our company.
The two of them work through their comatose allies, bringing them all up to their feet, each of them with no harm dealt to them.
We'll want to clean this up.
Is the first thing any of them say.
Why would we do that?
Wolves are worse.
He begins towards the corpses strewn outside the town.
What does he mean?
Cosmo stands a bit back from the group.
He means... well, there are a lot of presumptions there. Are we staying here? Are there wolves here? Where are we? How do we even go places? Is the world still there? We saw everything just get torn apart. Was it the game? A game? The game?
Ah, damn it. I was doing so good.
He looks over at Sonnenbloom with an attempt at a smirk.
We're gonna figure it out, Sonnenbloom. I won't make a promise, because those are pretty untrustworthy things. But I know our quests are bound to get those answers, wherever we go from here.
Alright. Thanks, Cosmo.
I think he believes we'll be staying here permanently. Or at least for a while. Predators are going to start to fall upon carcasses left in the open air.
This is a video game.
I don't know if it is. The air feels real. I feel real. At least as real as I ever did when I was wherever we were before.
You have a new body.
I've spent more time in this one than it feels like I have in my original. I'm gonna go help Gecko. Maybe you all can scout out the buildings and make sure we have a safe camp for tonight.
Ilkat nods.
Certainly.
She looks around.
All right, everyone on me. We don't have any weapons, so if you see something, arm yourself, or pass it up to someone who has nothing. We don't know what we're going into, but we know the layout of most of these buildings. That's our only advantage.
Dez rushes up to Ilkat's right-hand side.
I'm almost hoping for a fight.
Excuse me?
Ilkat gives a disapproving look.
Almost?
Do any of you have anything on you?
She asks as they cautiously approach the Japanese convenience store.
Such as?
Like, stuff. Your phone, your clothes. We just have these rags.
The door entering the Japanese convenience store swings open. It is fully stocked and still somehow air-conditioned. A little chime plays as Ilkat takes a step through the front door. To the right, a series of different grilled and hot items turn on an automated series of hot rollers, prepared meals, little sandwiches, and a bevy of snacks. The rest of the store is of the quality of a small organic market in other countries, hosting even a select few fruit. Something catches Ilkat's attention, and she gets low, bringing her hand down with her so as to suggest everyone else should do as well. She ducks behind a central shelf and puts a raised finger to her lips. Shh. She mimes the phrase. There is a sort of crunching sound in the back of the store. Sonnenbloom's eyes widen. She shakes her head, pushing out some fear. Cosmo looks over to Dez. They nod, then each move to a different side of the shelving unit. There's a crinkle of some kind, from the same place as before.
Go.
Ilkat whispers as she begins to rush towards the back of the store. Everyone moves at the same time, shelf to shelf, skirting through, awaiting the worst of any possible horror. The very last aisle, where different drinks are across from potato chips, the crew converge upon Nelf and Tobias. Nelf is sat on the ground, eating his way through his fourth bag of chips, while Tobias kneels, a small can of cold coffee in his hand. Everyone looks at each other, then between themselves, then back to each other.
Got him?
Dez rushes up, grabs Tobias by the shoulders and completely envelops him in his grasp. Sonnenbloom sort of stands back and watches while Cosmo and Ilkat approach Nelf, and he just gives them his hands without any fight.
Get your hands off of me. What are you doing? Do you even know what we've been through? We've done nothing to you.
Dez affirms his grasp.
I know exactly what you said to my friend, and that isn't how you talk to people. So shut up and stop resisting. You're not going anywhere.
I'm glad there are others here. You wouldn't believe the tale I have to tell you. It was a vicious battle, and—
Wait. I want everyone here to hear it.
Ilkat raises her hand alongside the command. In the center of the manor in the town of Verplek, warmed by a full fireplace crackling well-aged wood, the guild look upon their captives. Tobias on his knees by the fireplace, Nelf sat upon a recliner, some rope binding him in place. Everyone is sat upon one of the various couches or chairs surrounding a large central table. Upon the table are piles of Japanese confections and various prepared meals, or the remains of their wrappers. About 12 empty boxes of takoyaki are stacked in the corner of the table. Ilkat yawns and pats her stomach, then throws a single foot up onto the table.
Oh, okay. Alright. Now I think we're all ready to hear your story.
Nelf, as if returned to an active status from stasis, simply returns to exactly where he was in both tone and premise.
The battle was intensely fierce beyond any I had seen before it. But we came to realize this battle obeyed the laws of the game, and we are the greatest at the game. Our gear beyond any scale, our PvE literacy in the top percentile. We fought back most of them.
He means that we saved ourselves while everyone else was torn apart.
Surviving does not mean saving everyone. It means being here to remember they are gone. To tell others to honor their sacrifice.
For you and your fat ego.
Tobias, you have never spoken to me in this way. You are a guild leader in the Square Knights. Show me decorum.
Tobias rolls his eyes.
Square Knights are no more, you fools. These people rolled a good portion of their remains off a cliff.
He eyes over towards Gekkomatsu and Khan.
We haven't a shovel to bury them, and our resources are too sparse to burn them.
Yes. The great honor of accidental death assassination. Pushed off a cliff. What grace we gave our fans. Don't you see? All of this, everything I did for you, means nothing if we aren't getting paid. If the sponsors aren't coming in, the merch isn't selling.
Nelf seems legitimately hurt.
What you did for me? You basked in the glory of our creation. You had homes in Ibiza and Rome, ate private meals underneath perfect north. What complaints have you and your services to the Square Knights?
Khan steps in.
Wait, sorry to interrupt here, but do you know what he does? He's an evil dude.
Nelf shakes his head dismissively.
Only evil as you believe accounting is. He's the keeper of our treasury, the calculator of our numbers. This is a certain kind of evil, I admit, but not the treacherous sort.
He, threatened to assault my mom in real life. Like, came to my house, gun and everything. So we'd give you this town.
Nelf looks over.
You did what, you salt-heaving bastard? I told you to give them an offer they couldn't refuse, not to be the goddamn godfather. What the hell were you thinking, disgracing the name of the Squared Knights? We walk the line between right and wrong. We don't veer straight down onto it.
Tobias says nothing. He just smirks.
So, after the battle, what did you see? Were you in the game?
At first, yes, we fought and fought. All of this in EE up until the sky cracked open. There were explosions everywhere. Colors changed. Everything got all messed up. We went from the game to wherever we are now. Our gear gone. Our stats wiped. Just us in this place that resembles that town.
Ilkat focuses her gaze.
This looks like the town from Endless Empires. Are you telling me it isn't?
Nelf gets a stupefied look upon his face for a second.
Well, yeah, that town, that was in-game. It was just on that server, too. We had fans check other EE servers and nothing. In the same spot, just a blank GIF. It was only one place, and now it's real. But the game is gone. We saw it blow up from the inside before we just ended up here.
Sonnenbloom nods.
Whatever happened, I guess it happened in the game service as well.
Dez places an entire soft-looking candy in his mouth, chews it down slowly, then looks between their two prisoners.
Well, I vote this Nelf guy can stay for now. But Tobias has got to go.
Tobias's eyes widen.
Are you going to kill me?
Gekomatsu shrugs.
We should. I suspect if we don't, you'll hunt us down until we're forced to.
We're not killing anyone.
I mean, you did just shoot that guy in the head with a shotgun.
At least, do we all think that actually happened?
Ilkat closes her eyes and focuses really hard. For just a moment, as a glimmer, her health bar appears above her head, and just beside it, a confirmation she remains level 2.
Yeah, I think it did.
She shrugs.
Okay, fair point. But that was in self-defense. We're not going to execute anyone. How about it?
I much prefer this option. If you would give me a few of your many supplies, I will gladly take my leave. I fall upon your mercy for that much.
Dez rolls his eyes and looks away. Khan leans forward.
Give him a day's worth.
Khan leaves, rushing up the stairs of the manor. Ilkat shoves a few prepared meals into a plastic bag from the convenience store and motions her head towards the door. Dez picks Tobias up and they begin towards the edge of the town. As they go, Ilkat looks over to the podium which raised up from the ground in the field.
Wait, just a second.
She rushes over. Dez holds Tobias in place firmly. He looks down at him, considers saying something, but decides against it.
Ha-ha! Yes!
As she shouts, there is a shift in the air. Snow drifts around as the border of the town grows and the wall of wind reforms, entirely encapsulating it. Ilkat rushes back to Dez with the spear in hand.
Something did make it through the change.
I'm glad one of us will be armed with more than a kitchen knife.
They take Tobias to the edge of the wall of wind, and Ilkat slices open a passage. They say nothing, other than handing Tobias a plastic bag and pushing him over to the other side. The wall of wind reforms in the place it was cut, and the town of Verplek is again entirely sealed from the new outside world.
See you never, I hope.
End of Chapter 5.
Hello, adventurer. Thank you for logging in today. I have been programmed to thank our Patreons for their support, and to advertise if you want to support the series. You can do so at joshperry.ca/ontheline or patreon.com/on_the_line. Be sure to check out our latest chapter released monthly.